Laced Up Nation, what's really, really good? Whoa. Wesley, what's popping? What's good?
Yeah.
How you doing, dog?
I have donated the Derrick Rose shoes that you ordered that didn't fit you to some students. One kid in particular whose name is Derrick, therefore his favorite player is Derrick Rose. And he's in 8th grade. He takes heat from all the other kids in school for being like loyal to Derrick Rose and loving him, man. And like the kids make fun of him because he's got some he gets some special education services, but he's good at basketball. But the kids don't respect him, and part of it is he's always repping D Rose, dude. Yeah, bro. Dude, he was so pumped up, man. He was so pumped up. So good job.
No, man, you're the one who donated them, bro. I made a stupid mistake of ordering 2 shoes when I only needed 1.
Bro, you would love this kid being the D Rose loyalist that you are. Are you a truther?
This is the D Rose that I gave you. So
yeah.
I ordered this shoe, and for somehow I ordered 2, and I didn't really like. They were gonna charge me to return it and all that, so I was just like, I'm gonna keep these and give them away at some point. And so,
Are you a D Rose truther?
What is that mean?
You told me what the D Rose truthers are. Explain the phenomena of D Rose truther.
Oh man. So basically the D Rose, there's a D Rose fan, right? Who just likes D Rose or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's the D Rose truther out there who still believes that he is the MVP and he is the best player in the NBA.
And they were in full force like while he was in New York, even, and like
they still
like
are.
Cleveland. No, I'm saying it's important to point out that like this was a thing when he was like getting no tick in Cleveland and was like.
I don't remember when he was getting no tick because he started on that team. So get your facts straight first of all.
Whatever. When he wasn't putting up numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so that's the thing, because you might, when you listen to me talk about Derrick Rose, you might think that or assume that I'm a truther because I'm quick to correct people like what you just said, like not getting tick or not putting up numbers. Well, excuse me, I don't remember a season where he didn't average like 18 points a game at least. So is he really not putting up numbers? Okay, maybe he's not putting up MVP numbers, but he's still putting up numbers. Okay, so let's get that straight. So you see how I'm talking about him. You see how much I love him. Of course, you're gonna say that I'm a truther, and that's fine. Like I get it, but the thing is, I think that both things can be true. I think that he can be a really, really good NBA point guard.
Yeah.
Starting level point guard. But I don't think that he's an MVP.
And which was the thesis of the movement, that he was like, he never left MVP caliber.
Exactly.
Like, okay. I got you.
I've always said that Derrick Rose, like obviously the main thing that hurt him was his injuries, right? Like literally that hurt him. But the reason why it hurt him was because he wasn't able to expand on his game. He already had kind of a limited game. Even though he was so great, he won the MVP. That's why his MVP to me is even so crazy, because he's got he always had kind of a limited game. He never had a 3-pointer. He had a little bit of mid-range shot, but most of his game was just going to the rim. Like that was his whole game. And he needed to expand on that, and the injuries didn't allow him to do that. And I think now, slowly but surely, he's been able to add a lot of things to his game. But even still, right, he's not like a complete all-around player.
He's not an MVP. But there's people who swear that he is an MVP and that it's a conspiracy against him, that he's not in MVP discussions.
Maybe not a conspiracy, but they think definitely it's because of situations that he's not able to play or whatever. But listen, I don't talk negatively about Derrick Rose. I don't really talk negatively about a lot of players anyway, but I don't talk about Derrick Rose negatively at all. And so if you want to call me a truther, so be it.
Let's talk about the 90s though, dude. Let's talk about 90s basketball.
Okay.
90s basketball, bro.
Okay.
So I was recently I had some time on my hands, as people tend to have these days. I was watching the Phoenix Suns versus Seattle Supersonics Game 7, 1993, Western Conference Finals. This was inspired by The Last Dance and just my admiration for Charles Barkley, one of my favorite players of all time. So we're going to do a new segment now where we pick a random game like that from at least 15 years ago. And then we watch it, and then we just...
2005?
Yeah, just share our observations. Trevor, you watched the game as well, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, what was your first takeaway?
Honestly, bro, I want to hear you go first. I want to hear you say all your takeaways.
The immediate takeaway is that Charles Barkley had 44 points and 24 rebounds. And I just can't fathom how someone who's only 6'4" could get 24 rebounds in an NBA game. And every single rebound, it was just like, how? Like, it didn't make sense that he got it. You know what I mean? And you know it's not luck because he got 24. He must have had the science of it down, the timing and the understanding of the physics of the basketball. You know what I mean? Like, where is the ball? If it's shot from this angle, where is it going? And he just knew how to use his body. But I just can't. It was just unbelievable. He was rebounding over Sean Kemp and all these guys. And not only getting the rebounds, but his ability to score after he pulled it down was just the number one takeaway for me.
You know, on that point, like, I think that I don't think Charles Barkley was necessarily one of those guys like Kevin Love or Dennis Rodman or even Andre Drummond, where they kind of like have perfected the art.
You don't think that he was like that? I
don't think that he was necessarily like that, where he perfected the art. I just go back to what they teach you when you're growing up hooping, bro. Like, one of the first lessons they ever teach you about rebounding, it's about who wants the ball. That's literally what rebounding is about. Yes, of course, timing and all of that can take you over the edge. But if you want the ball, bro, if you really, really want it more than everybody else, more often than not, you're going to get it. And when I watched Chuck play, his overall athleticism that he had and his strength, just his raw strength, that's one of the biggest things that stuck out to me in this game. And anytime you watch Prime Chuck, it's just how strong he is and just how aggressively he goes after those rebounds. To me, that's like the more of the reason why he gets them than actually getting there. Of course, over time he figures out, you know, certain angles and all of that. Of course. But to me, it's more about his willpower and his raw just strength and athleticism that gets him those rebounds.
He didn't look out of shape to me either.
Well, I mean, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he looks like because he's never been like super cut up. But that doesn't matter.
Dude, if you got a little flab situation going on, can you get 24 rebounds?
Yes. Against
guys way taller than you? So you really think it has that much to do with just will and determination? Like, you don't
just because you have flab? Like, no, like, bodies are different, bro. Some bodies can carry extra weight and be just as strong and athletic and have just as much cardiovascular endurance as anybody else. Yeah, like, just having flab or because his body type wasn't as cut up has nothing to do with him being in shape.
I'm saying I don't think that he was. I don't think he was flabby. I think he looked like he was in outstanding shape.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's overhyped a little bit about him being overweight and stuff like that. Maybe earlier in his career. End.
He was at the thing is, like, he never took care of his body, right? And so he would come to like the season and he would be out of shape, like over the off season he'd be like eating all the time. Right? It wasn't that he wasn't training, he just like overate or whatever, right? But he gets made fun of that because of how he looks like now and how he looked at the end of that Rockets stretch.
The Rockets era.
Yeah. But before...
It's crazy to me that...
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, it's crazy to me that he didn't take care of his body and he was potentially one of the top... I mean, he said that going into the finals that year, he thought he was the best player on the planet. It wasn't until he lost in the finals that he admitted that, like, he wasn't the best player on the planet. You know what I mean? And he wasn't far from the truth.
He said
it's just crazy to me.
He said at the end of that finals that maybe there was another player better than him. That's what he said. He said
Oh,
maybe.
did he?
He said that's the first time I even thought that there may be a better player than me. That's what he said.
Yeah. Other thing. Okay, are you familiar with Oliver Miller?
I mean, I definitely don't remember him, but I am like,
okay.
I remember, like, I know him now after watching the game.
Have you seen the meme of the NBA's heaviest basketball player?
Simbulak?
No, dude. This dude, Oliver Miller, was like weighing in. He was like, by the time he got to Indiana, he was like just like straight obese, dude. He was like, I think they said he weighed like 400 pounds or something like that. And he was in this game and he wasn't that overweight. Like, I wish y'all could Google him. Like, I thought maybe you'd seen him before, because I've seen this dude in memes all over. He like literally was just incredibly overweight for an NBA basketball player, but he was 6'9". And I just like but he was a rookie in this game. And I whenever I saw a picture of this dude, I was like, how did he get into the NBA? And like, how could he have been effective? You know what I mean? But it's kind of like you said, man. He was strong. He knew how to use his body, but
he wasn't.
This game proved
he wasn't like fat in this game.
Well, Google him, bro.
No,
this
that's
game
fine.
Proved to
but
me
that doesn't
that,
matter. No. But what I'm saying is that could be late in his career.
It was late in his career. This game confirmed that to me. That like, cause this game he just looked like a big dude, but he wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like, I think they said he got up to 380, which is crazy to me. And like, I'm not making fun of the dude.
He was big though. He's probably like, he looked like he was a solid 6'10", 6'11",
6'9". Yeah.
Okay. He looked like
6'8".
big.
Yeah, but his body, he looked totally different in this game than he did at the end of his career. And he was on the Timberwolves for a second. But that's just crazy to me that like players can like be in the NBA and go through such a drastic change.
Well, the thing is, once you sign a contract, it's not like, you know, the team is going to give you, well, to an extent, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You get out of shape, it's not like they're going to just cut you right away. They'll like try to like tell you to, they'll try to get you back in shape. You know what I'm saying? And if you're good, if you're still somewhat good, like at the end of the day, you can't teach being 6'8" and really strong. So they might, you know, they're not just going to like throw you away. And plus, NBA contracts are guaranteed. So it's kind of hard to just throw a player away when you're still going to have to pay him.
Other thing, what I love about this, just like players I didn't know about that like were probably, if they weren't all-stars, they were in the upper percentage of players in the league. But they just like, their fame didn't trickle down as legends. And there's a lot of guys like that. Seattle, Eddie Johnson, that dude was on fire. He couldn't miss in the whole third quarter. And I was like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? I'd never even heard of him. And like solid player. Also,
he had 34, 35 at the end?
34, 35. And then KJ, man, Kevin Johnson too, who you were telling me about because when I first watched the game, when I told you about it, I was like, who is this dude? He was so fast, but he could distribute the ball. He could drive and just like, he was getting to the line like crazy, like James Harden amount. And I was just like, this dude, and you think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, like he's definitely on that level. Him and Dan Marley were already all-stars by the time Chuck got there. And you know, Dan Marley, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame type dude, but definitely for the era he was really good. But KJ, man, KJ is when you talk about like those little guys who like penetrate and do all that, you know, probably like Tim Hardaway and obviously like Isaiah Thomas and all those guys are like better than him probably. But I think he's just like right there, like right the next level under like those Hall of Fame, like super like legend type. KJ's right there, right on that next level. And you really saw it in this game. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he was at this point, but this was pretty much his prime of his career, right around that time. And bro, nobody could stay in front of him. Nobody
was so fast.
Nobody on the court could stay in front of him. His mid range was just going crazy. Once he had the drive set up, just the fake drive pull up was working for him. His passing was unreal. He pushed the ball really well. Just a really complete and smart player, man. Like
do you know his speed? The only guy I can think of like visibly faster, because some guys it just pops off the screen how fast they are. And I'm wondering what you think. The fastest guy I ever saw was when he was in his prime, Ty Lawson, when he was healthy at Carolina, and then like young in the NBA before he started having all those like issues with alcohol and he started putting on weight and stuff. And then he had a couple seasons where he was shooting the ball really well too, and he was like borderline all-star. And it's too bad. I always wonder what, his career trajectory could have been like.
I think Ty Lawson, just raw speed, was probably faster.
Yeah.
Than KJ. But KJ had way more moves.
Yeah.
Like he had way more wiggle than Ty Lawson. Ty Lawson had he didn't really have wiggle. You know what I'm saying? Like he just had he had a nice little hesitation and go. But KJ he could do dribble moves. He could do a hezzy, pull back, step, and then step back and jump. He could come through and pass the ball as well. I think Ty Lawson's probably faster and quicker than him, but there's no way, it's more effective when you're able to add more moves to your speed and to your quickness. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was saying about that.
Yeah. Another takeaway from me, man. Nate McMillan. Playing nice for Seattle. Seattle, they just didn't play well.
Tell me why he hasn't.
He looks the exact same. Yeah.
He just gained weight.
Same.
He just gained weight. Yeah. That's literally the only difference.
Yeah, man. Seattle just didn't play well, and they weren't impressive in this game. And it went to 7 games, so I'm sure it's too bad we couldn't watch the other ones. But he was one of the. I thought he didn't even play it that well, but he had flashes where I was like, okay, if he played a little better than this in all the other games, I can see why he was a really solid point guard. And Gary Payton just didn't do much. And that got me reading into him. And I didn't realize that he was so highly touted out of college at Oregon State, the Beavers. Shout out to the Beavers. But then his first 2 seasons were I don't know if they were perceived as a disappointment, but he did not come into the league just on fire. And this was his 3rd season in 93. And even then he was I don't know what the thoughts were, if he was on track to grow, if he was where they wanted him to be. But apparently he started to take off in 94. So Gary Payton, I didn't realize that he kind of had not the best start to his career.
Definitely one of the things that stood out to me was him just not being good.
Yeah.
And, I took notes quarter by quarter on this whole game. And literally by the 3rd quarter, it was just apparent that he had no offensive game.
Yeah.
He literally has no offensive game. His only thing that he could do was if there was an open lane, he could drive strong to the lane and lay it up. That was literally his only offense. And the only reason he could really do that is because he was pretty athletic and long for a point guard. He's 6'5" for a point guard. So, but other than that, he couldn't create his own shot. He wasn't really creating for other players. The only thing I did give him credit for is early on, especially in the first couple quarters where Seattle was still hanging in there, he was playing really good defense, I thought. KJ was eating, but KJ was eating against everybody, and Gary Payton wasn't always guarding him. But when Gary Payton was creating steals, he was getting his hands on balls and all of that. So I think he was really active defensively, and I think that's just natural. That, when you got, that's what he's known for as being a legend anyway. He's the glove. So I think when you have that type of talent, it pops out even when you're not that good. But it definitely took him a while to figure out his offensive game, because by the time they were in the finals against the Bulls, he was a beast, right? And that was only 3 years later.
Yeah.
3 years later.
Yeah. Last thought about players. Well, Trevor, one time you told me, I don't remember who you said, someone, you think someone has a punchable face. Who is that? Who did you say has a punchable face? Eric Spoelstra. Okay. I want to know what you think of Danny Ainge in that regard. Do you think Danny Ainge has a punchable face?
He's one of those guys that like, obviously he's the GM of the Celtics right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think when he's like talking like normally, he's like, okay. But then he does this face when he complains, when he's like complaining to the ref or complaining to players, when he's like,
I know. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
That face sucks.
Now, I would not ever say anyone has a punchable face, but I will say that Danny Ainge had like
gets you the closest to saying
first of all, he had like a 7-year-old kid haircut, and like it always just rubbed me. When I look at him, I just think of a kid in like the 60s, like in the suburbs, that was just kind of annoying and told on everyone all the time, and like he had like a slingshot, and he was like that annoying kid that no one liked. Yeah, like I don't know, man. He was just like just weird. Just, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's when I look at his face, I think of that. But then like he just turns out to be one of the great NBA players who's accomplished more than I could accomplish. So from his perspective, I can say whatever I want about his haircut and his face, but I just can't get past it with him. He just doesn't seem like someone I would like.
I don't know. Like I said, when I've heard him like talk a bunch of times and, do interviews and stuff, he seems like a cool dude or whatever.
Yeah.
But just every time I see him play, bro, like he always complaining.
That complaining, yeah.
And he seems like he's one of those dudes, like he's just an annoying player to play against. I've played against those dudes many a time. Like they're sneaky. Yeah. They're probably doing all those little dirty tactics to like get open and stuff.
He was good at defense too.
No, but at the end of the day, like you're gonna complain about that, but at the end of the day, he's whapping every open shot, every semi-open shot, he's whapping, and any little mistake you make, he's taking advantage. So like you know what I mean? It's that makes it more annoying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think
Danny
I agree
Ainge,
though.
not a punchable face, but annoying. Last thing, dude, jersey mashup. Okay, the Suns were rocking the whites. Okay,
no, they.
Who green. You got? Huh?
They had the green.
The Suns?
No, Suns were white. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the Suns were rocking the white with the purple letters and the diagonal sun going across.
By the way, bro, that warm up that they have is.
Oh, I didn't peep the warm up.
It's one of my favorite because they had the same warm up the whole year or like that whole little era. That warm up that they have is like my favorite warm up, and I need to get that somehow.
Okay, so
Suns warm up is so hot. Anyway, keep on.
The Sonics had the green jersey with the white. It was like the green and yellow with the white like stripe in the front. Yeah. I'm definitely taking the Suns, bro. I thought that whole Sonic vibe was whack Arnold's, man. Until they changed it 2 years later, or maybe it was the next year when they changed it.
I think it was the next year because Gary Payton played most of his career in that. So but anyway, I think that Sonics jersey is cool only because it's old.
Right? There's so many jerseys like that. Yeah.
But like when you're watching them play in it, and it's like, oh, this is like your whole scheme. This sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I did not like it. It's not that cool, and then especially like it's okay, right? Like it's not the worst thing in the world. There's worse jerseys. Definitely, there's worse jerseys. Yeah. But when you compare it to the Suns, in that era of the Suns, that's literally one of the best jerseys of all time. So like when you're standing next to perfection, you look pretty imperfect.
You look pretty stupid. All right, what were your thoughts watching this game, T?
So a lot of similar thoughts, but mainly it was just that. I don't know how this even got to 7 games, bro. Like, because this was the classic situation where like you have a group of guys on the Sonic side who are really talented, and you could tell if everything lines up perfectly, they can be really tough to beat. But everything needs to be perfect for them, and they really only have 2 consistent guys, and really only one, if you really want to be honest, right? They don't really have one guy. So all things need to line up perfectly for them. And then on the other side, you just have literally like 4 or 5 guys who are consistently giving you offense and defense production. It's just a matter of time that they're just going to beat you. So I think in the first quarter, I think Sean Kemp and Sam Perkins were like just killing. They were doing really well. And even into the second quarter, I think they were doing pretty well, and I think they were doing really good defensively. They were switching up zone and man, and I think they were confusing the Suns a little bit. But at the end of the day, the Suns had too much talent. Like, I'm not even talking about Chuck. Like, okay, fine, Chuck is on a whole different level, but he was getting shut down in the first half. But just the simple fact that they had Danny Ainge, they had Marley, they had KJ. They had other dude came off the bench. I can't remember his name, but they were all just with like that, and they were moving the ball. The ball had energy throughout the whole game.
Tom Chambers? Is that
Tom Chambers? Yeah, Chambers. The other big white dude. Yeah. All of them. So even when Chuck wasn't like super going off, that talent was like pretty much stalemating the best version of the Sonics. And all it took was Chuck eventually is going to get loose. Yeah. And as soon as that started happening, the Suns went to a completely different level. I thought whenever there was definitely, basketball is a game of waves, right? Up and down, up and down. Whenever the Suns were like super focused, locked in, and just like determined and organized, there was nothing the Sonics could do. They had no offense. Their offense was literally nothing. Their offense was literally it's reminded me a lot of what the Wolves used to be doing with when Tibbs was here. Literally just like a little, they would just do like a little rotation on top, like 1 or 2 rotations, come back and just try to throw the ball to Kemp. That was literally all they did. And if they didn't do that, they went to the other side and tried to throw it.
And that's all the Wolves. That's all the Wolves have been trying to do with Towns when Tibbs was here.
And then they would just try to throw it to Sam Perkins or whatever. And then eventually, somehow Eddie Johnson was like, I'm not passing the ball no more. This ain't working. Like, I'm not passing no more.
That was a hot streak, bro.
I'm done passing it to anybody. And he kind of went off, and he did keep him in the game towards the end. Like, they still never even got closer than 8 or 9, but still, he was really impressive. So that was another big takeaway.
Sean Kemp also got into foul trouble. I don't mean to interrupt. I think that helped Barkley a lot. That was the next
thing I was going to get to, is that the Sonics were just, I think they were just trying like as hard as they could, and they just got really outclassed, and then they just started getting frustrated. And with that frustration, that third quarter, bro, they got into the penalty like literally with like 8 minutes left.
Right.
Like everybody was fouling on every single play because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't stay in front of anybody. They couldn't keep Chuck out of the paint. They couldn't even keep Oliver out of the paint. They couldn't keep anybody out of the paint. They were just fouling every single time down.
Yep.
The free throws were going crazy. Man, I felt bad watching them play because it was just like, I've been on that side before when you're like literally trying everything. You're trying to do what you're good at and you can't do it because the other team is just not letting you do it.
Right.
And it's just like, I can't do anything else because if I try something else, I'm not good at that. Like it's sad to see a team go through that, but that's what the game is about, trying to exploit the weaknesses. So it was super fun. I'd never really watched that. I don't think I'd ever watched that game before.
Yeah.
But anytime,
shout out to the graphics too in those types of games. The old school 90s graphics.
Bro, I always loved the announcers, bro. I like for some reason I don't even remember who those guys were, but I remember the second color guy. I remember him. He's like ingrained in my memory as a little kid. I don't know who he is, but
that brings up a point one of them made that got me thinking about the whole landscape of the NBA in that era. Obviously, they brought Chuck in because he's Charles Barkley, but they said that a huge reason they brought him in is because before he got there, the Suns were considered soft. And I was like, that's not even a thing in the NBA anymore. Like the team, like there's not like soft teams and tough teams. You know what I mean? And it got me thinking of like in hockey, how like teams like need an enforcer. You know what I mean? A guy just to get into fights and stuff. And they said Chuck was doing that. He was playing physical. He was adding intimidation. And Chuck said that in an interview before the commercial. He was like, I know part of the reason they brought me here is because they needed an intimidator. They needed an aggressor. They needed to show teams they weren't afraid. And I was like, dang, was that a thing in the NBA back then? Sure. Were there those teams that, you know what I mean? Like, and that just doesn't exist in the NBA now. There's no discussion about like tough. I'm not saying that the NBA is soft today, but I'm just saying maybe there's a lack of those teams at the top who have that impact on the game as far as toughness is concerned.
I think it's still definitely a part of the game because you still have like, but it's definitely getting phased out.
And you don't hear about teams bringing in guys like to do that.
You don't really hear that, especially not anymore. But even just a few years ago, you think about guys like Matt Barnes. Mm-hmm. Like teams were literally bringing them in because they knew he would like fight.
Right.
Right. But even that's getting phased out. But definitely in the 80s and the 90s, you know, in the Last Dance, you're people who don't know are learning about how Charles Oakley was Michael Jordan's protector.
Right.
What the heck is that? What position is that in basketball? There's no position called protector.
But that was his role.
Back then, that was the thing. Like you had to have one or two guys who were going to come in and just fight if it went down. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's definitely. I think it's always going to be a little bit part of the game. Like you're definitely going to you need guys on your team who are like ready to like scrap if it ever comes to that. But because of the rules, because of the culture, that is really just getting, like you said, people don't even really think about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So but you know, it like everything, pros and cons.
Yeah.
Con is like if you really love basketball, you're like, well, that has no place in the game to be fun.
Right. If you're a purist, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, but at the same time, when you really hoop, you know, sometimes you need a dude to be like, you need somebody on your team to like stand up for the squad if it really comes down to that.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know.
And like the Bulls said in the Last Dance, like the Pistons were in their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, can you think of a team in today's era that just like is shook on that level because of physicality and aggression and intimidation? Like I just don't. Yeah, I think we agree. It's just like not.
It's not really like that anymore. Like you said, it's not.
Do you
really
wish it was a little bit?
I don't know, man.
I think from a petty spectator's standpoint, I kind of wish it was. You know what I mean? But like that's petty. Like it's like cheap entertainment.
You know that dude that the guy that you're wearing right now?
Jalen Rose.
So you know how he talks about all those hold me back moments?
Yeah.
I don't really care to see the hold me back moments. Like where it's all just like fake fighting.
Yeah.
Like I'm just yelling just to yell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I do like when you can genuinely tell, like even in you know how Gary Payton, he was having a horrible game, but Gary Payton wasn't going to back down to anybody. He was getting right into Chuck's face and Chuck went right at him. That's real.
When it happens in the game between whistles. Yeah.
And you can tell, this is real. Like these two dudes are going at it. That I love. And I think anybody who loves basketball loves that, you know, but all this stuff about like, I don't know, like pushing people because they took a shot too late, or I don't know. Like I there's a lot of stuff in the NBA now where it's like they're trying to like fake be that, and I don't like that at all. So
there's a lot of guys who just talk and they want the spotlight. They know they can get it if they act offended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thoughts on that? On the whole game?
Yeah. So
the whole NBA.
I just want to go back to the game a little bit. So. I think that I'm actually really intrigued now to like go watch the rest of the series because I'm really confused on like how it could even get to 7. I could see the Sonics winning a game or two because they have talent. They definitely have talent. You could see because even Ricky Pierce was not scoring at all.
And he was that's another name
averaging like 15, 16 points a game that series. Right. So you know, if he gets hot, if everybody gets hot, if Peyton only had like 8 points or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if everybody gets hot, you know, I can see them winning a game or two. But how did they win 3? I don't know. So I want to see the rest of them. But definitely Kemp versus Barkley. I think just like looking at that matchup, Kemp in his prime, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a super cool matchup. Just thinking about it. Just and like at the beginning of the game, Kemp was going at him and having success, and Charles was going right back at him. Kemp was locking down Charles. Like, that was really cool, and I want to see more of that. Really cool. But at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top, bro. Like, you could just see Kemp at the end of the day doesn't have the skill that Barkley has. Kemp is gonna get the ball and overpower you and dunk over you and be super athletic and jump over you, but he's not gonna have that little 17, 16-footer fade away. He's not gonna have the little, you know, shimmy shake, nothing. He doesn't really have any of that. And you saw slowly but surely Chuck was just breaking him down. Ultimately got him into super foul trouble and just eliminated him. Like, just straight up eliminated him.
Man, Chuck's 44 and 24. That's at 6'4". Bro, kids don't realize that these days.
That he was so short?
There was a 6'4" guy getting 24 rebounds.
He was a power forward.
And he was also scoring 44 points on top. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's crazy. Like, it didn't even feel like he was getting that many boards. Like, they were so easy for him. You know what I mean? Like, it was so like, oh yeah, he got the, like, it was just so.
Well, that's because, dude, and that's where maybe I disagree with you. I think he had a incredible knack for timing and placement. I mean, you agree with that, but I think that had more to do with it than just will and determination.
Yeah, but I just think that when you're 6'4", if there's guys who are 6'10", 6'11", it don't matter how well positioned you are. Like, John, right now, if I get in good position over you, am I really going to get a board over you if we both have the same amount of chance? It's like I have to do more than just get in good position.
Bro, that's a horrible comparison. You do things to me on the court that, like, you shouldn't be able to do.
But what I'm saying is there's a point where it doesn't matter your technique. And I'm not saying he's at that point, right? Because it's only like, at the end of the day, it's only like 4 inches or 3 inches. That guys are over, like, taller than him. But still, I think there's I don't know. I mean, obviously, I agree that he had unbelievable timing and he knows how to do it. I just think because of how he plays, and every time I've seen him play, he's just a guy who's gonna get the ball, bro.
Yeah. You know what I'm not gonna do when the quarantine's over?
What?
Try to beat you in one-on-one playing like a guard.
No, you should try to do that.
I hate doing that. Cause you're like Gary Payton on me, bro. It's just nonsensical.
Bro, honestly,
how hard it is for me to score.
All you gotta do is tighten up your handle a little bit. That's
just
it.
A little bit.
Yeah, because your arms are too wide. It gives me too much time to get the ball.
So, and you know that.
Yeah, of course.
So I gotta make everything tighter.
Yeah.
So for everyone listening, the rule is I can't post them up when we play one-on-one. I can't play like a post. So we play one-on-one, and I try to play like a two, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't go well. But all right, I'm gonna tighten that handle up then and play you when quarantine's over. That's one thing I want to do when quarantine's over. The other thing, I decided I want to just talk to strangers more in like densely populated places. Like I want to find a nice busy area somewhere in the city and I just wish that sometimes that the country was more like it was apparently back in like the 60s where everyone knew each other. You know what I mean? Like in your local vicinity. So that's what I decided I'm going to do. What are you going to do when quarantine's over? Something that you probably wouldn't have thought to do before all this.
Man, I don't know, bro. I don't think I have any like non-cliche answers.
Trevor's just always living life to the fullest.
No, not like that. I just don't think that I have any non-cliche answers. Like I just want to try to enjoy simple things more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know that's cliche, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just trying to travel more. Like and that's the thing. I do travel a lot.
You travel a lot.
But like I just doing that, like making sure that I go visit people that I usually don't, or you just say like, oh, I'll visit them later, or I'll talk to them later. That type of stuff. I don't think that I have anything. I'd have to sit and think of something like cool like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I wish I had a better answer for you.
You can come talk to strangers with me, bro.
Well, you know, one of the ideas I have for this podcast, and you know, the whole channel, the whole community, is to do like you know, in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, we have the Skyways.
Yeah.
To try to go in and do like a Skyway Sports type thing. So I want to go in and just interview random people on the Skyway.
Yeah.
And just ask them about life.
Yep.
Or the Timberwolves or the Twins or whatever they want to talk about.
Just get interviews, bro.
And just talk to them.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, you want to talk about sports? No. Okay. Do you want to talk about sneakers? Okay.
Yeah. We coming. we coming out into the public with it after all this. We coming out.
Yeah. For sure.
We going public. All right, man. Well, that's all I got, bro.
Okay.
Anything else you want to mention on Bench Mob?
You know, I call you Wesley.
Yeah.
You usually call me T or whatever. Like,
I call you T. Sometimes I call you Aurelio.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I only call you Wesley here. I
on the
still call
pod.
you Jay or
was
whatever,
someone
right?
like, who the hell is Wesley? Was someone? Are you like clarifying?
No. I was gonna say I have a suggestion of what I want you to call me.
Oh, okay.
But it's, I think I messed up the name. So I rewatched There Will Be Blood.
Oh yeah.
It's just a great movie, but
great movie, dude.
I and like my favorite character in the whole movie is HW.
HW, that's the kid's name.
And I remember the first time I watched it, I just thought that he was probably like one of the coolest kids I've ever seen in a movie.
That kid's cool, man. Yeah, I like that kid.
And you know, especially like, you know, me, like growing up, like I would only think like if I saw like a Latino kid in a movie, like I would just instantly think that he was the coolest kid in the world, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But this kid, obviously I'm an adult now, so it's different. But this kid's a little white kid, bro, and I just feel like he's like the coolest kid I've ever seen in a movie, bro.
Just the way he looked when he would size things up.
Yeah, bro. He just like the way he looks, like his eyes.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know. It's just something about that kid.
It's really all he did in the whole movie was just look at stuff happening. He didn't say much.
Yeah, like I don't want to spoil nothing, but whatever. Like, it just, I love that kid, and I wish I could be like that kid when I grow up.
All right, that's the pod, y'all. Next week.
You could call me HW.
HW. Oh, that's what I'm calling you. All right. Tune in next week when Wesley and HW review the film Midsommar. No, we're not. I mean, we might do that. I just thought of that. I watched it, bro. Yeah.
I thought. Oh, okay.
I might develop a rant about it. We can talk about it next week.
That's a great movie, I thought.
We can talk about it next week.
That's not a movie you would like, though.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you watch that movie? That's not a movie you
Patrick
would like.
loved my roommate, my cousin. He loves all those types of movies. So
that's a movie he would like. That's not a movie you would like.
I don't know if he loved it or not. No, he didn't. He thought it was kind of. Yeah. I'll have to ask him when he thought about it again. But no, the point is we're gonna do some random stuff next week. Benchmark. We talk about whatever we want to talk about. We might decide we don't want to talk about Midsommar next week. But just tune in, and that's the pod, HW.
All right, then, y'all. I love you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, the shares, everything. We really appreciate all the interactions. Shout out Pete. Shout out everybody who loves us. Be easy.